Okay, so this video is about finding the vertex of a quadratic function. Now remember, a quadratic function can either be a parabola that opens up or a parabola that opens down, and the vertex is either the bottom if the parabola opens up, or it's the top point if the parabola opens down. And remember, that point has to be on what we call the axis of symmetry. The line of symmetry, axis of symmetry, where the parabola folds onto itself. And that symmetry line has to have an equation of x equals. Because all the ordered pairs on that line, the x's will always be the same. So when you find the vertex, the x value has to be the same as the x equals for the axis of symmetry. So you substitute that in, and you get your new output, which is the y value at that vertex, at that specific point. Okay, so let's give that a shot. So over in on my screen here, we have this quadratic. To find the axis of symmetry, we need to use our formula. I made a mistake last time. I need to make sure I use the right value for b. b is the coefficient of the x, so it's the 16. The a is -2. I need 2 of those, so I need -4 here. Opposite sign. Now 16 divided by -4 is a -4, and the opposite of a -4 is a +4. So I know x has to equal 4. So if that's my equation over here, x equals 4, I put a 4 in, and I put that in where the x is. Let me change colors here. So every place there's an x, I put in a 4. So let me go back, grab my eraser tool so you can see what I'm doing a little better. See if this makes sense. So I put a 4 where the x is here. What's 4 squared? 16. 16 times -2 is -32. So I have a -32 here. Okay? Then I take 16 times 4, which is 64. And I have to add those together, which gives me a +32. Then it says subtract 32. What's 32 minus 32? It's 0. So I know that when I put a 4 in for the x, my y is a 0, and that'll be my axis of symmetry. No, it won't be. It's my vertex. It's on the axis of symmetry. Oh, boy. And a vertex is one point on the parabola. In this case, it'd be the top of it. So I put my ordered pair after I go back and grab my clicker tool, and I put in 4 was the x, 0 is the y. Let's see if we're right. Got it. So let me go back and clear the screen. So let's take a look at this equation here. Let's go back to my pen tool. I have this quadratic. I want to find the axis of symmetry. The b, well, there is no x term. So the b is a 0. 0 times x is 0. Don't need to write it. So the b is a 0. The a is a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Well, 0 divided by 4 is 0, and the opposite of 0 is 0. So I know my axis of symmetry is right on the y-axis because that's where x is always 0. Now I take that value and I put it in every place I see an x. I only see an x one place, so I put a 0 in there. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 2 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is -1. So my vertex, when x is 0, I get out a -1, and that's what I want to type in here. So I grab my parentheses, 0 had to be the x, and the vertex is going to be 0, -1. So let's tap that. Do one more here. So let's go back. Let's clear the screen. This is very similar. There is no b, so when I do my axis of symmetry, my b is going to be a 0, and anytime b is a 0, it's going to make that whole fraction 0. But we'll follow through. There's a -1 for a. 2 of those is -2. But again, it doesn't matter. X is 0. But what I do now is I substitute that in where x is, And then I get my y output, which ends up being a 3. So my ordered pair for this one is going to be a 0, but the vertex is at 0, 3 for that parabola. So good luck with those.